like database enabled course. And I guess like the biggest advantage of that is that it will tell you that, these are the sections where you're weak at. So these are the sections you should do. And it will tell you that these are the sections you're strong at. So these are the sections you shouldn't do. One thing with I guess like my favorite part would be sectional mocks without a doubt, just because like I think one thing is that a lot of times you just practice a lot of verbal, you'll practice a lot of DI, you'll practice a lot of quant, and you just give another mock, right? And you just give another mock, another mock, another mock. You just keep on giving it, and a lot of times you won't be able to pinpoint, right? So you need like something like a semantic quiz. You need something like a sectional mock to just really understand maybe like that for that specific section or for that specific like altogether chapter or something where you are wrong. Biggest thing was that I wasn't able to really figure out, like where I'm going wrong and what am I missing, because like I was just doing more and more and more questions and just like, trying to crack it. Like,
Hi, Kavya. A very good afternoon and a big congratulations. Your smile says it all. So for our viewers here, we have Kavya with us, who recently scored a brilliant 725 on his GMAT with the perfect Q90 and a brilliant V87. It just feels so good, even, you know, talking about this, announcing this, Kavya. So how does it feel to be finally here?
I would say like very relaxed, just because like, like it just feels like all the prep finally just, like converted into the test scores. And I was like, I guess like when I saw it, I was just like, oh my God, like I got full score in night.
Yes.
Quant. Like you just like, know that, okay, the paper is going good, but you just don't really know the scores until you see them. So I just like saw it and I was like, wow. So finally,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know it because it's been quite a journey, right? From GCE to GFE, and somewhere there was that score plateau. You took your GCE, you got a 710, then you
Mhm.
tried again, couldn't improve, and this time when you came on board with e-GMAT, you were literally at that 700, 710 kind of a level,
Mhm.
more in the zone of plateauing of scores. So,
Mhm.
what was it that was actually holding you back from that 99th percentile score?
So I think that biggest thing was that I wasn't able to really figure out, like where I'm going wrong and what am I missing, because like I was just doing more and more and more questions and just like, trying to crack it like that. So what I was doing is that I'm just trying to doing more questions. I just think that, oh, okay, this is maybe like I'm just bad at, like probability. So I'll just do 10 or 20 or
Uh-huh.
50 probability questions and it just like would become better. And
Mhm.
that really wasn't converting as much as I was thinking, and like it was taking too much time. So that is actually when I just like maybe, like I thought that I should just like, take help of some platform. So that is where like I like saw like online e-GMAT had very good reviews. So I just like took a chance at e-GMAT. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, you came on board, and I think in your first mock, your scores were a V83, Q86, and a DI 78, 79, right? So getting into the preparation, you knew that verbal is going to be a big challenge, but we had some issues with quant too, right? So we'll start with quant because that clearly, along with verbal, is the hero of the story. A perfect Q90. Kavya, you re-attempted it despite a 695 too, because you knew you had it in you for quants. So talk us through what the quant journey was like, with the perfect Q90. Yes.
So I guess like with Quant, one thing was that I always thought that, because like I have an engineering background, so I would be able to score very well. And like I was really hoping for a perfect score just because it helps in the application process and it would really increase my overall marks as well.
Mhm.
I guess like the mocks, like I gave, I was getting around 83, 84. Maybe like I think like the peak score I had gotten once was 86 or something. But one thing with Quant was that, like I was not able to figure out that where am I going wrong. Mostly a lot of silly mistakes, a lot of things which were going wrong. And I just wasn't able to really solve them in time. And just because like, I just wanted the process to be done as quickly as possible. So that's actually like when, like I started with the e-GMAT one, just because like I had seen on Reddit and all that, the reviews are good. Plus, I guess like in GMAT Club, the reviews are good. So I just thought, why not? So I went with that. One thing was that, like I guess like I had connected with you, and so I was a little bit, I would say that I was very skeptical that because like I was like that, I know everything and it's just the silly
Mm-hmm.
mistakes which are holding me back. So that is actually, I guess, like where e-GMAT helped a lot because like, because like you have this bias in your mind and you just think that like, there's nothing wrong, but obviously you're not getting score. So there must be something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess like the biggest thing, like starting from was that I guess your recommendation as well was that maybe go through the modules and give
Mm-hmm.
the fact that they were pace enabled. I think that really, really helped because like I
Mm-hmm.
said, like, I just wanted things done as quickly as possible because I was just too getting too impatient because I had given like a lot of mocks and I was like that. I was also like getting very skeptical that would I be able to not score or not
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
it just felt like a never-ending process. So I just thought, what if like it just lasts forever?
Mm-hmm.
So went for this. I like did a base enabled course, and I guess like the biggest advantage of that is that it will tell you that these are the sections where you're weak at, so these are the
Mm-hmm.
sections you should do, and it will tell you that these are the sections you're strong at, so these are the sections you shouldn't do. So I guess that's actually really
Mm-hmm.
good because that way I know that. Okay, I know this stuff, so I don't have to do it. So it just saves me time by just doing stuff which, like statistically is that I
Mm-hmm.
do not know. So that is something I would go for. I guess like one more thing way it helped me is that because I just like was practicing only hard questions. I guess like because the modules are for beginners, it just helped me go through the basics once more
Yeah.
to just tweak it a little bit more because there are definitely like when you go through the basics there are few questions here and there which you just like few type of questions or few ways like the way you do a question you haven't really gone through in a while or maybe you just forgot or maybe you just haven't done it
Mm-hmm.
ever so you just go through it so you just like it just refreshes your like whole memory and just like preparation and then you're just like more ready right for those particular modules and that particular chapter as well so that is actually like I guess like where I started like and that is where like my fundamentals became at least I would say better and clearer as well that okay these are the things I'm working towards. I guess the second thing was I practiced a lot on Scholaranium as well. So Scholaranium, I guess like one thing was that like like a lot of places the stats are pretty much like around that how good you are at quant verbal or like
Mm-hmm.
maybe critical how good you are at critical reasoning and reading options. It's not really deep dive into that. Like it's not really deep dive into what you're bad and number properties, right? And that is actually
Mm-hmm.
something you want to know. Like is it the odd even thing? Is it the factors? Is it what thing is it the prime numbers, right? And maybe you're just very good at prime number questions. So those like those stats and that too like at easy, medium, hard, like what you're getting wrong. So like that's also where I solved my silly mistake issue because like I just understood okay these are the questions I'm doing silly mistake a
Mm-hmm.
lot. So what I would do is that I would just do those questions in a row just to try and solve those and just like you just like then if you do multiple questions you just form a process that okay I'll read
Mm-hmm.
it again I'll just like be careful of maybe like noting down the questions right maybe I'll not do calculation errors and all so that is something where like the Scholaranium helped a lot especially for
Yeah.
quant yeah and
So,
yeah
sorry to cut you here because when you mentioned silly mistake and how the data analytics helped us nail it, is that these so-called silly mistakes were happening in certain specific kind of questions only, which tells that it is not silly mistake. It's a process error. Until you
that is
identify those process errors and really fix them, that improvement is always going to be a iffy thing, right?
Yeah, that's actually true. That's actually true because like with silly mistake, like one thing is that you always think, okay, it's in maybe all the medium question and all the easy question. But like I didn't have any in overlapping sets. So that is something I'm sure of. I didn't have any in combinations and like permutation as
Mm-hmm.
well. Because, like you just, like you just have the data. I guess like the biggest you can get is noting error, but I didn't get any errors there. So it was mostly number properties. It was mostly in those type of questions. So that is where I guess like the data analytics really helps, like pinpointing
True.
you. Mhm.
True. And I just to show some evidence to how well you've done. I have these snapshots. This is your number properties to just tell you did the course really well. These A grades mean that you were better than median when you were doing the course. And here in number properties, we can see that you saved close to 10 hours,
Yeah.
using pace. So, and sort of the time saving plus the fact that you really reinforced your foundation and worked on these areas meant that your accuracy in number properties went up from 65 to a consistent 85, 80%, which is a 95th, 98th percentile right there, right?
Hmm.
And also, this is just the power of how, you know, by selective identification of strengths and weaknesses, you are able to really improve. And similarly, in algebra, if you look at your inequalities, this was one of the areas where you used to make a whole lot of mistakes, right? A 43% accuracy to a 100% accuracy. At the same time, your time to solve the questions fell from by 24 seconds from 2.5 minutes to 2 minutes with 100% accuracy. That is, you know, you should just take a bow, Kavya. But that for all of yours here, all I want to tell is that tells us about the power of a data-driven improvement plan and the diligence with which a person is willing to commit to improve those areas, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Quant was a Q90. Finally, you started seeing those in your sectional mocks, right?
Yeah.
When getting into the test. Um, so
Um,
now coming to verbal, Kavya, that was in your mind, it was one of your weaker sections out of the three sections getting into GMAT focus.
hmm.
So, and from there you improved to a phenomenal 98 percentile, that is a Q87. So tell us, how did you do it? And again, I think here again we used Scholaranium extensively. You
Hmm.
also mentioned you used sectional mocks to really fine tune your time management test taking abilities. So take us through that journey.
So with verbal, I think like the biggest thing was just like trying to figure out where am I exactly lacking.
Mhm,
So like, I guess the biggest thing was that maybe doing the cementing quizzes, like doing consistently multiple CR questions, multiple RC questions, because a lot of times, like, you're just like maybe doing five, six CR question, five,
mhm,
one, two RCs, and you just like, get bored and you think that, okay, now I'll just give a mock. And
mhm,
mocks are a little bit different, right? And I guess like the exams, like the final test sector exams are totally different because like
mhm,
there you would get consistent RCs, like three back-to-back RCs, a lot of back-to-back CRs as well.
mhm,
You need to be really prepared. I guess like one thing is that it might also be lengthier or shorter or like, different than what you have practiced. So you want to be prepared for different scenarios as well. So I guess
mhm,
that's like something like, giving multiple cementing quizzes, multiple sectional mocks really, really help. One thing with I guess like my favorite part would be sectional mocks without a doubt, just because like I think one thing is that a lot of times you just practice a lot of verbal, you'll practice a lot of DI, you'll practice a lot of con, and you just give another mock, right? And you just give another mock, another mock, another mock. You just keep on giving it, and a lot of times you won't be able to pinpoint, right? So you need like something like a cementing quiz. You need something like a section
mhm,
mock to just really understand maybe like that for that specific section or for that specific like like altogether chapter or something where you are wrong, right? So cementing would really tell you that, okay, in CR, maybe like the hard ones, your accuracy is around
mhm,
80%. So you know that, okay, maybe there I'm almost there. I need to just, increase it slightly more. With sectional mocks, you're just trying to understand, okay, like if I get a set of CR, RC question, medium, hard, like how would I manage my time and what score I would get. So you want to like consistently get a very high score there to just, like make sure that there's a consistency,
mhm,
because like my scores were around, I would say like in the midst of e-GMAT was around 83, 85 it got, and
mhm,
like definitely in test center it got to 87 as well. But like sectional mocks as well, I was getting around those scores like 85, 86. And then, like there are few where there were a few outliers where I got 90 or like
mhm,
82, 79 as well. So, but like overall, you just understand, okay, these are the things which are going wrong.
mhm,
This is wrong with my process in CR. Like this test, I got suppose 82. So what things I could have done better? And this is the test where I got 88, 89. So what things I can just learn from it and just keep on
definitely.
doing it. So that is, I guess, really where sectional mocks. And I think it's just because it's a unique feature. I don't think I've seen it anywhere. And that's actually like something I really, tell my friends also, that sectional mocks, so you want to do it. That's really,
Yes.
yeah.
We did do a whole bunch of sectional mocks, and these are your verbal sectional mocks. The thing is, yes, there is that variation, but you were consistently hitting good scores as you moved on, right? And that was because, as you rightly said, each sectional mock was a learning. And this learning was not it was not colored by what happened in quant, what happened in DI. The focus was just verbal, and that helped you improve from mock to mock. And yes, here we are,
Yeah.
right? So, Kavya, DI also, I think it was a brand new subject for you. So, I know that DI also, like in your first attempt, you got an 85. This time, unfortunately, it didn't translate, but that was made up by your brilliant quant and verbal scores. So tell us how did you go about working on your DI?
I think like one thing for DI is that one biggest tip, which, I would say is that you really want a quant and verbal to be very, very strong. Like I
Mm,
remember, that the DI preparation I did probably the last.
mm,
And the reason being is that because, a lot of sections for this like MSR, TPM, like data sufficiency are sort of derived somewhat directly or indirectly from verbal and quant only. And definitely this graphical interpretation as well, which is a little bit different. But overall, if you have a very strong fundamentals for quant and verbal, it's not like you would be very bad at DI. Like you just want to be very good at quant and verbal, and that's when you want to start DI. And with DI, I guess like the biggest thing was that I really wanted to, do different kind of questions, because like for suppose like graphical interpretation or like MSR, like the two things was the graphical interpretation, definitely, right? Like you want to see different kind of graphs, different type of tables, and you just want to have that experience that, okay, this is if I get a table like this, or if I get a graph like this, how should I solve it? And the more graphs and tables you just solve, more questions you solve, I guess that's where it benefits a lot. So, and that is actually like one of the reasons I actually took like e-GMAT, because like except the quant thing, I had run out of the DI questions, like because
mm-hmm,
DI questions, I don't know right now how many DI questions are there, like, online. But mostly it's not very high quality question, it's very low quality question. So, like
mm-hmm,
you get an answer and you can just challenge it that it's right or wrong.
mm-hmm.
So you want a good, like provide a good online course or something for a DI, something just so that you can have those set of questions. So Scholaranium's DI questions, just the length, the extensiveness of the questions is a lot. And that is actually like the biggest reason I took it, because like I just really wanted those set of questions, and I just practice, go through it, and see different kind of graphs, different type of tables. With my weakest section, like which even in this one, like the weakest thing was TPA. So TPA, I think like it's mostly that I practice a lot of CR on e-GMAT.
Mm-hmm.
So TPA slightly, like, so what it had done was that I practiced TPA in the beginning somewhat, and I just realized that, okay, like I might need to make my fundamental for math, like quant and verbal better, and then I can just maybe
Mm-hmm.
and that's what it did. And then like I went about for TPA, MSR and all that, because those things you can just translate there. And
Yeah,
that's how I really started to, see progress, improvement in all the various sections for that.
got it.
With DS, I guess like one thing with which I think you will even see it in the OG questions, is that OG questions for like OG has like some of very hard questions for DI, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
rated like 805 plus in GMAT club as well. So that you really want to do a lot of those questions. Like if I had to redo this, those are the questions you just really want to do. I guess that's where like e-GMAT would have a lot of very hard questions as well. So like, just more and more practice in that, because like, like if your fundamentals are good, like definitely you would be able to do maybe like 10, 12, 13 questions. But I guess there are some, I don't know exact number, but some very hard questions as well in the mix. And you never
Mm-hmm.
know which section those questions might come from, right? So you just
Yeah,
want to practice that a lot.
got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Kavya, I know that it was you were all ready to go take the test, and your first attempt after e-GMAT, after RNP, you got a 695. The biggest reason for your target was a 715 when we started, right? So clearly the score was good. It is a 98th percentile, but it was not the score you were looking for. And one of the primary reasons was your quant was still at 86 in that particular test, right? Verbal was also a little off the mark. And of course, you were very, very nervous getting into that test. And I'm sure that played a big, big role in you not hitting that, 715, because your marks were all going good. So,
Mhm.
And between that 695 to that 725, you didn't do a whole lot, you know. But getting into that 725 attempt, you were more confident this time because you had that safety net of 695. So walk us through this phase and, how did you finally, what role does that confidence on the test day play in finally translating all this prep, all the cementing stats, all the sectional mock scores, and the full mock scores into a rock solid score on the test day?
Yeah, so that's actually correct. Like the reason I gave it was that, like I knew that, like because my mocks were getting good, so I can score like, hypothetically a higher score than 695 if I want to. And like, so that is actually like one of the reasons I want to give. Like the only thing was that I was like a little bit like, can I actually get or not?
Mm-hmm.
I think like one thing is that I like started to decrease like the preparation, overall preparation. Like maybe there were some months in the beginning of the preparation which were very intense preparation, but in the last couple of like 1 or 2 months, 1.5 months, I just didn't do a lot of practice. So it was just because like I was, trying to like, at least for me, there's this like, like this logical thinking aspect which kicks in like when you are
Mm-hmm.
away from the questions, the paper and all.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what helps a lot because like, like usually you're just like have done the question so many times, you're just so used to it that you just like rush through it and you just maybe like make very, minute mistakes. So like just not doing a lot of practice just helped actually in that way that, I could just logically think of the questions. Um, Other than that, the confidence was that, like when I got the 695, that I was actually very nervous. Like I remember I was going in
Mm-hmm.
the car and I was nervous because I was like, it just felt like, I'm just giving, like as I get, I had given that a 710 attempt as well. So I just was a little bit skeptical that would I get it or not because it had been some time. So I just wanted the
Mm-hmm.
score really fast. So that is why I was nervous. It definitely does like did affect it a little bit, and that is actually like when I got the 695. I mean, like, like the conversation changed. You just become that, okay, your score is good. Like it could be better definitely because you have a mock, you had good in mocks. But that's when like, the confidence rise. You just are a little bit more relaxed that, okay, even if it doesn't goes well, like it's not like the end of the world. You still have a 695 and you can still pretty much get into most of the colleges, right? So then like, I think like that is the part where I just
Bagger
actually
changed.
yeah, so like just my mindset sort of changed that I was just that I'll just book it. And I just like, booked the first date I got with that time something because like I
Mm-hmm.
actually gave that one in afternoon as well. So this one I gave in evening and just I just because that time, by that time I'm just more relaxed and also I just
Mm-hmm.
at that time and I was like, I'll just give it whenever the day comes. And it was very shocking that how much relaxed I was before it because I was just
Mm-hmm.
like like what's the worst that could happen? I still have 600.
Yeah,
That's actually
true.
like maybe that mindset helped me go through Quant. I was really
Yeah,
shocked at Verbal because like 99 percentile with that 87, like especially because Verbal becomes tough, right? Because of
yeah.
Quant. I don't think like even now, like I just actually checked my transcripts, which I hadn't. Like one of my friend called and I just like because of that, I just checked that okay, how many questions I got wrong. And it was just one question for CR, one for RC. And I
Okay.
just realize that like maybe all these things, just having that calmer mind
Yes.
give you that logical thinking and this the perspective that you can then just with Quant and Verbal, it definitely helps, right? It definitely helps with DI as well,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to have that clear
Yeah.
thinking when you're just
Very
attempting.
true.
Yeah.
See, GMAT is a test of critical thinking, right?
Mhm.
And if you're not confident, if you're not thinking on your toes, then of course it sort of impacts. Because I clearly remember before the 695 attempt, we had
Mhm.
so many phone calls wherein you would ask, Rashmi, ho jayega, now will I be able to do it? Vis-a-vis between your 695, 725, we just had one conversation when I
Mhm.
asked you, Kavya, will you be able to do it? And this time you told me that I will be able to do it. So that's a big difference, right? So that's very, very good. So Kavya, just coming to the Sigma X mock, they sort of literally within 10 points predicted your final score
Exactly.
consistently, right? So what's your take on the Sigma X mocks and how the role they played in your prep?
I think like Sigma X mocks. So I have given like to be honest, I've given like a lot of mocks
Mhm.
beforehand. So the thing is that I do think official mocks like are just a little bit easier. At least I felt that because like I got like I guess like 1765 also, so I don't know like
Yeah.
but like at least with me and with Sigma mocks, like I do think they're a little bit more accurate to the test interval just because they're slightly harder than the OG months. But I don't know, like it's just my perspective. I guess the other mocks, a lot of them are very either too hard or too easy, and that is like where the issue becomes because you really in the mocks, I feel like you just there are two things you really want to know, right? Like first is that in a testing condition, like how would you perform, right? Like would you have stress? Would you do silly mistakes? Would you like convert all the scores, the accuracy you are getting in the practice or not, right? And the second thing is that you really want to know where do you stand so that you can book your test. So that is something you really, really, really want to understand because like otherwise, like, if suppose it's too hard and suppose I would have gotten like 605, so then we still would be like, I would be practicing, right? But suppose it's too easy, like I got a 805, then I would just give it, that day itself when I get, and I just maybe just get a 695 and I'm just shocked, right? Where did it got wrong? Want it to be like a little bit closer towards the official mock. So that is, I think, where it helps. I do think that I feel like the Reddit or like GMAT Club, one place I have seen that the reviews are similar, that it's consistent with it. So that is how I think like I found it as well. So like this is one free, mock. So I just thought give it. And it was, I think that one was very accurate because that one was exactly what I got in the test. And then like and that I because like I was like very much into the cementing quiz and sectional mocks, I was really saving it for that. I'll just give that and then I'll give a official mock later on because official mocks are obviously limited, right? So you can just give those later on whenever you want.
Got it, got it. So they really helped you in being able to book the test day and giving you an assessment of where you are at, right?
Yeah.
So it's been an awesome journey, Kavya. I'm so glad we are finally here and having this conversation today. And it has been a pleasure working with you through our Last Mile Push program. So any takeaways about the LMP? And finally, what do you have to tell all the other GMAT aspirants out there? What is it that they need to do to get to the top of the GMAT and reach the target score?
No, I guess like I think like in terms of like feedback, I just really love definitely like work specifically with you. I really love working with you, and like I had recommended to my friends as well, a lot of them that like you should. And one of my friends has actually taken, so she has taken a e-GMAT subscription. But like overall, I would say that like like you just want to get there faster, and if you feel that you're maybe faltering somewhere, or you just feel that if there is a tool, if there's a course, if there's something which will get you faster, so I would just say that maybe just leverage that and just get there, right? Like because this ultimately you just want to score, right? So like if the faster you get, the better it is. Like with me, like I'm working in consulting, so definitely the work hours are a little bit longer. So I don't want to like prep for like just years and years and years. I just want that maybe like I just prep for maybe 3, 4, 5 months or maybe like 2 months and I just get there. So I would just buy it earlier, like if I had right now, and I would just buy it earlier and just get there, right? And that's like one recommendation. Second is just like I think like which is an obvious one that you just want to take as much help as possible, like because that's something like because obviously you don't need to do it. You can, I think anyone can definitely do it, but it's definitely would help you save a lot of time and you can just it would just save you a lot of mental energy as well, that what you need to work on and all that stuff. So just maybe that is also something.
Got it, got it. Be consistent, focus on it 100%, be done with it as
Yeah.
soon as you realistically can.
Yeah.
And yes, take help. There are people out
Yeah.
there to help you in your journey. You don't have to do it on your own. That's a
Exactly.
very nice thing to tell, Kavya. And I have to tell you, I'm so happy we are having this conversation today. It's a very, very hard earned, well deserved 725. Congratulations again and all the best for your next steps.
Thank you. Thank you so much.